Hey guys, it's Obsolete here, and in today's video we're going over things that you might not know about the Calamity Mod. Some of these are useful tips and tricks that can help you within your journey all the way to the final boss, while some are just some hidden Easter eggs that are kind of hard to discover. This list is made with revengeance mode in mind. Also, this video will contain some spoilers for things within the mod, so don't watch if you don't want anything spoiled. Lastly, before we get into the video, if you enjoy the content and want more content like this, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment what your favorite tip of the video was. With that out of the way, let's get started. If you name your character Sharklad, whenever you open the starter bag given to the player at the start of the game, you will get the Joyful Heart, which is a light pet that squeaks and emits love particles occasionally. Baguettes are a great early buff item, being crafted with 10 hay at a furnace, and it gives you minor improvements to all stats. It doesn't hurt to have, and all you have to do is sickle some grass for some hay, and it lasts for 5 minutes. You have 20% damage reduction pre-boss, which is really useful considering how tedious early game can be at times. But right when you defeat your first boss, you do lose that damage reduction. Planetoids are wonderful for getting early life crystals, gems, ores, and other loot like enchanted sword shrines. The main big planetoid also provides herb bags for potion making. Don't underestimate bosses, even vanilla bosses like King Slime. With revengeance mode and even more so with death mode enabled, the bosses have drastic changes that make the fights go from easy to very intense. There are tons of different internal file names that are different from the actual name of certain things within the mod. For example, Old Duke is often referred to as Boomer Duke, and Brimstone Elemental being referred to as Brimstone Waifu. You are going to want to collect and keep anything and everything. It will probably be useful later. If an item says material when you mouse over it, that means that it has at least one thing it can be crafted into. After defeating Desert Scourge, the first boss added by the mod, the giant Clam mini-boss can be challenged within the Sunken Sea, which will be found below the underground desert biome. The Fearless Goldfish Warrior will instantly kill players named Metarex or Lord Metarex on contact. With the death message, Metarex, Lord Metarex, was once again impaled by a goldfish. This is a reference to a bug death message he received during a playthrough, which stated that he was killed by a goldfish. If the player kills a Trasher from the Sulphurous Sea biome and doesn't have an Angler in their town, the Trasher will drop from the Angler upon death. If you are playing the Summoner class, make sure to hold your Summoner weapon while fighting things, as if you aren't, your summons deals 50% less damage, but if you are, you deal 10% more. The Eye of Cthulhu drops a very valuable accessory, the Counter Scarf, which allows you to dodge through an attack every 15 seconds. It also gives you a dash, which increases your mobility drastically. There is a very low chance of the Lord related status message appearing on April Fools, with a 0.000001% chance, or 1 in 100 million, chance every frame. The Lord is a joke boss from the mod that randomly cycles his AI every frame, and if the boss touches the player, it would disable all of your armor and accessories and give you the No You debuff. However, he will not actually spawn if this message appears in game. Having a full adrenaline meter will reduce your damage taken by 50% for one hit, and in some situations it's better to save adrenaline for taking a big hit instead of using it for damage. Some bosses have phases that can be really difficult or annoying, so sometimes saving adrenaline for these annoying or hard phases to quickly burst them down through that phase may be more ideal than using it for the easier parts of the fight or right when you get it. If you see a cyst in the Corruption or the Crimson biome, don't kill it unless you're ready for a boss fight. Ideally you want to fight this boss shortly after defeating the Brain of Cthulhu or the Eater of Worlds, depending on your world evil. Aquatic Scourge can be found in the Sulphurous Sea, and Anita can be found within the ocean in pre-hard mode randomly. They won't bother you unless you attack them, but they should not be challenged or messed with until hard mode, as they are hard mode bosses. After defeating Skeletron, if the player has 1 platinum in their inventory, the Bandit can move in, who sells various rogue weapons and accessories, and all the weapons the Bandit sells are very powerful for pre-hard mode. Also, the player should make a trip to the Abyss with the Shadow Key, as there's a lot of good weapons to find down there. You can skip fighting the Shadow Key in the dungeon to get the Abyss Shadow Chest weapons by fishing abyssal crates out of the Abyss waters, for a 20% chance of getting one of the items within the crates. Hadal Stew is the best pre-hard mode healing item, and it can be crafted or found from abyssal treasures within the Abyss. Also, one more thing about the Abyss, whatever you do, never ever use the Rotted Discord in the Abyss, or else you'll be visited by Jared, and if Jared visits, you're gonna have a bad time. Just because you can't craft an item in vanilla Terraria, doesn't mean that you can't craft it within Calamity. Items such as the Rotted Discord, Frog Leg, Hermes Boots, and more can be crafted with Calamity Mod enabled. Recipe Browser allows you to check this, or you can use the Wikipedia. After defeating Wall of Flesh, if you have Fab Souls vodka in your inventory, which can be crafted with blood orbs from a blood moon at an alchemy table, You can get a unique town member, the Drunk Princess, which will sell you different drinks and candles, which give unique effects. Some are really good and some are really bad. Speaking of the Drunk Princess, if you talk to her during a blood moon, you have a chance of getting a quote that will cause her to slap you, dealing half of your current health as damage, which can actually kill you. The giant clam in the sunken sea gains new attacks in hard mode as well as new drops, making it worthwhile to revisit for all classes in my book. Most bosses have some sort of a rage mechanic if you or the boss itself goes outside of the biome you summon it in, or if you go too far away from the boss itself, and some even have double enrages. So if a boss suddenly acts a little out of place, it's likely that you enraged it. Arenas are basically required for all boss fights. Do not skip out on making them or else, well, you're gonna have a bad time. Preparation for boss fights is really key in general though. You want to make sure that you have proper potions, heart lanterns, sunflowers, and any other buffs possible. Trust me, you'll likely need every bit of help you can get. Boss fights will require a good amount of strategy in order to defeat most of the time, especially in the later stages of the game. So if you find yourself having trouble with a boss, try changing up your movement patterns and see what happens. Some bosses it's actually safer to be closer to rather than farther away, for example, and some bosses just circling works, while others you may need some more complex movements. Things that were really good in vanilla sometimes have been nerfed or reworked and are not as powerful, one of those being the Daedalus Stormbow for example, so make sure to try out new weapons. Don't judge weapons solely based on their damage stat. Some of the best weapons have low damage, but unique effects that deal great damage. For example, the wand has a damage stat of 1 but deals massive damage. Cryogen has a 1% chance to display the message "Cryogen is derping out" upon going into its final phase. This chance is increased to 5% on April Fool's Day. After defeating Cryogen, you can buy enchanted metal from the Archmage, which can be used to craft mech summon items super easily. In hard mode, there's an item called the Cosmolite, which toggles time between day and night, and it's extremely useful to set the time as desired to grind certain enemies or fight bosses that can only be spawned at certain times. The counter scarf can be upgraded into the evasion scarf using Souls of Light, Souls of Night, and Silk. It increases your dash distance and also gives other bonuses. Zerg potions are a great way to farm for certain item drops, as it massively increases spawn rates, whereas Zen potions are great when you need a moment to build or would like to be unbothered for a while, as they reduce spawn rates. Some bosses have super rare 1% drop rate weapons and accessories that are often super powerful for their tier, which can be useful if you are stuck on a particular boss. Letting the angler die to a trasher while in hard mode will cause the angler to sometimes drop the golden fishing rod. If you flip gravity in the Aquatic Scourge fight, the Aquatic Scourge will triple its base speed and vomit rate. The projectiles used in Brimstone Elemental's Barrage's attack are the same ones used in the final boss fight. If you flip gravity in the twins fight, the twins will instantly switch to phase 2, and the fire rate of lasers will increase dramatically. Sometimes it's better to use a weapon that has homing and does less damage compared to a weapon where you have to aim that does more, as it allows you to focus more on dodging rather than aiming. The Burden Breaker item allows you to travel at extreme speeds, letting you basically teleport from one side of the world to the other, but it drops from Skeletron Prime when he's enraged in the daytime. Providence's Star Attack in her cocoon form does not do damage, it instead heals you negatively in order to ignore your defense, immunity frames, and damage reduction. The green stars will actually heal you for 50 HP though, so you want to actually get hit by those. During April Fool's Day, the sponge's sprite will change to a cube resembling a real-life cleaning sponge. There is a 5% chance of the message "A Boomer Awaits" appearing after defeating Poltergeist for the first time on April Fool's Day. Yaron does not need to be fought in the jungle, he only has to be summoned within the jungle. However, his enrage is based off of the 2 huge tornadoes he spawns. Going outside of those tornadoes or flying too high up will cause him to enrage, increasing his speed and damage dramatically. The color of the projectile produced by Yaron's crystal can be changed if you name your character certain things, such as DM Takuro making it appear red, and Fabsol making it appear white, along with some others. The Hadopelagic Echo has a 1% chance to play the Sunskater death sound instead of the normal weapon sound upon use. Don't worry about spending too much money, you can always go back and farm old bosses and sell their loot for quick cash. And for our final tip of the day, Supreme Calamitas spawns an arena for you, and the center of said arena is always where you use the summoning item. This allows you to set up your ideal arena, so prep accordingly. And that is all for my Calamity Mod tips and tricks video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to subscribe for more content like this, leave a like, and comment what you guys thought was the most useful or interesting thing you guys learned. See you guys in the next one.